Philippines.
You love that, don't you? We are live.
And we're live. I don't understand why it says we're live for 1 minute and 22 seconds when we didn't go live.
Let's hope not.
I know.
That's what I'm saying.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another awesome episode of Paranormal Brew. And this evening we have the beautiful women, Mountain Gypsies, mother and daughter, little duo. They're so adorable, and I love them. So you guys know us. So I'm just going to let Kat and Tess kind of introduce themselves and let you guys know what the Mountain Gypsies offer to this wonderful world.
Well,
And the mountain world.
Well, I'm Kat Young, and this is my beautiful daughter, Tess Hughes.
Hello.
Say hello, Tess.
Hello.
We are the Mountain Gypsies, and we are a group of I'm the matriarch of the Mountain Gypsies, which doesn't mean anything, basically. Just kidding. We are our heritage is on my father's side is Scottish, and on my mother's side we're Melungeon, which is both my father's Scottish traveler and the Melungeons were American Gypsies. And it is, explain the Melungeons, Tess. I'll let you take that.
It's 3 different ethnic groups put together. It's Native American, Eastern European, and African American. Indentured slaves, actually, in Harlan, Kentucky, is where it was all from.
And they are the originators of hoodoo in that area. And then on my father's side, were the Scottish travelers. They did a lot of different type of spiritual. And it wasn't uncommon in the Appalachian Mountains for Melungeons and Scottish travelers to marry. And so that is our heritage and our background from that. And with all that is where all of our spiritual knowledge comes from. That's where all of our healing comes from. That's where the gifting, the bloodline comes from, and it's passed down generational. Now, everybody that has that background aren't always gifted. They're not always into the spiritual stuff. In fact, a lot of it's a lost art now. But my father and my mother kept it alive quietly, our whole life, and we weren't allowed to talk about it. But I finally said, this is something that is a gift from Yahweh, and I'm going to take it public at a huge cost, at a large cost, because of the vows that were taken, personally, they never wanted it to go public, but because of meditation and prayer, I was told to take it public, and I did, and several people that were left in the family did not feel that was something that was done. And I lost those family members, and that's okay because they weren't walking in that anyway. And because we took it public, it has helped so many people. It has healed so many people. And then we have found out there are so many people that were gifted that needed to be taught the healing ways, the Appalachian ways that we do. And so now we have schools and stuff that teach how to use your gifting properly. We've got one in Rome Mountain, Tennessee. We've got a center there, and Tess is in Rome, and that's where she is. And I'm right now in Kill Devil Hills, the Outer Banks in North Carolina, opening a new center. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. I just got chills.
I know. I'm like,
I just got chills. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So anybody can sign up for classes.
Yeah, well, yes and no. We're very strict about what you we're very strict.
Well, it's not just we're not just strict. You got to realize this is our bloodline. This is our family, and we've lost family members and our even generations before they were killed, things like that for what we do. So we take that very serious, and because that is our blood, we take that very serious when we're teaching people what our family does, how we learn these things, how we are gifted. So everything of that seriousness, when we laugh and joke about a lot of things, but that's the one thing we really don't joke about is and the importance of that and how we have to really, follow a certain set of rules and live a certain lifestyle.
Yeah. We have contracts. Like if we start out when you start out with us, we're also Reiki master teachers. And we start out with Reiki because Reiki is a good place to begin to understand what healing's about, to understand how healing works. So we teach people how to do Reiki, and then from that we can pick up whether they're gifted or not, what areas they're gifted in, and then we can take them and we will offer them, uh, if they're gifted, then we go to them and say, hey, we realize that you're a gifted person and we see this in you, and we would like to see if you're interested in going further with it. Each level of the gypsy is a certification. There are certificated there's certifications for each level, but you have to be invited. It's not something that's like, hey, I'm just going to take this class. It's an invitation to take these classes, and they're only open for gifted people. And each class, there's a contract that says you will act accordingly. You will be this way. You will do these certain things. And if and when you don't do these things, you're excommunicated, because it's that serious, is that important. And we've only had to do 4 times ever. And no, 5 times ever out of hundreds, because we have gypsies all over the United States. Some are more active than others, and that's okay, because what they do and follow what they're calling in. But we take it very serious. We have a lot of fun. The classes are wonderful. They're very intense, and it takes years to move forward. Are you killing your boyfriend? I don't know.
He actually left me here with 6 kids. I'm surprised it's this quiet here. So.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, this happens. I mean, I think it's like he knows I'm on and he's not getting any attention. So he's like, so I apologize.
Here's your voice. And like, let me in, let me in.
Yeah.
But it is very intense, and but each class, it makes you grow as a person. It makes you understand what your gifting is. What we have found is that a lot of people that practice dark arts were gifted, but the church dropped the ball. Originally, all gifting comes from Yahweh, but the church and people of the light are supposed to be of the light, don't understand how it works, and so they would turn them away, or tell them they're the darkness, or do whatever, or snuff out these gifts, or or even tell them they're mentally ill. And so they turned from that, and darkness is like, hey, come here, I'll use those gifts. So we see that a lot of people that work in darkness actually are gifted, but because people that were supposed to be of the light, that were supposed to train them and supposed to work with them, did not. They dropped the ball. The church dropped the ball. That darkness took these people, and they use those giftings for darkness, because giftings, it's all free will, baby. You can use it for the light, or you can use it for the darkness. And so we know that it's true. So we try to go to people that are gifted and that maybe are using their gifts incorrectly, and say, look, you want real power, let us show you how to do it correctly. Let us show you how to have real power that overcomes darkness, and take those powers and use it accordingly. And when you have true power through the light of God with your giftings, man, you stand back sometimes and you go, man, did I just do that? Did Yahweh just work through me that powerfully? Because the gift's not you, it's a gift working through you. And so when people start understanding their gifts and not use it for darkness, but the light through them, that's one of the most exciting things I've ever seen in my life, is when people start understanding that, yeah, this was from Yahweh, and I was, the world accepted me. When we say world, the darkness accepted me, and light, people that's supposed to be the light turned away from me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's interesting, because I mean, naturally, getting into this field, you open yourself up to whatever is out there, right?
Right, because you're so hungry. A lot of people, well, see, we were born into it, so we were trained and taught properly from birth. But so many people that were not trained, or God gave them this gift, they go to their parents and they're like, hey, at night I'm seeing this, or I'm hearing this, or they go to their priest or their preacher and they say, this is happening, or I can hear somebody's thoughts, or I can manipulate things to move. And they're like, oh, they're possessed, or, oh, that's of the darkness, or, oh, don't do this or don't do that. and then they're like the weird kid, or then they send them to psychologists, or they do. We know that a long time ago, most of us have been to these asylums to do lectures. Most of those people that were put in there was nothing wrong with them. They were gifted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stuck them in there and put them full of drugs. So we know that the church, who was supposed to receive the Great Commission, and Yeshua talked about all these gifts that they were going to have, the gift of knowledge and wisdom and understanding and healing and all these wonderful gifts, prophecy and all these things. Those were the gifts that people have now. They call them different things, but they were supposed to have these gifts and go out into the world and do these amazing things. Because the Christ even said, see these things I do. He was raising people from the dead. He was doing all these things. He said, you're going to do greater things than this. But we don't see that happening now because the church dropped the ball and people don't believe. And if you talk about these things, they think you're crazy. Oh, well, you're nuts. So instead they say, well, you're of the darkness. So the gifted child or the gifted teenager goes, well, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
And then you have evil go, oh, nothing wrong with you. Come here, let me show you how to do this dark. And so it still fits with their gift. And so then they fall into that. And evil's like, ha, I want. So we are the warriors that go, oh, hell no, we're going to take you back to the light. That's basically one of our main gifts or our main jobs.
Yeah. And that's good because, I mean, not only is it and unfortunately, you have a battle of trying to teach people the good part of themselves or their gifts to use as good, but you got the TV shows where everything is negative, everything's a demon, everything's negative, So people that are either maybe experiencing things and not talking to anybody, because I mean, I have like some friends that'll come to me and be like, look, I haven't told anybody this, but I know what you do, so I'm going to talk to you about it. But there's people that don't do that, don't reach out because they don't know they have that help, and they're watching the shows and they're automatically thinking, great, I'm possessed or I have a demon in my house or, something's happening, and so it's good, and that's why we started the brew. So it's good that you guys are doing that to try to, teach and help people use their gifts.
Let me take a drink. Sorry.
For the positive. Oh, go ahead, drink away. That's why it's called the brew. Whatever you got, coffee, beer, whatever.
Water today.
I got water. Yeah.
But so now there is two people that are writing. I just want to see what you guys have to say. Here's one. She says, I keep being told I'm gifted, but no one ever explains it to me. Okay, I'm gifted, but how? I see things I shouldn't for sure, but other than that, I don't know how.
Well, that's what our classes do. We start you out, and the classes are designed to find out what your gift is. And the thing that we have to do, we have to get out of the way. So the very first class, which is Mountain Magic 1, it is a class designed to remove your ideology, who you think you are, and out of the way and find out who you really are. And it's a very intense class. It's a very self-searching class, and it's a class about self-love. And it teaches you to find out, we start the journey. It's the beginning of the journey to find out what your gifting is. And the thing is, what people find along the way, you may have a multitude of giftings, and people say, well, they ask me or Tess, what is your gifting? Our gifting is whatever is needed to be for the person in front of us for that moment at that time.
Actually, my kids say all of them because my kids are very gifted, just like mom's kids we're all very gifted. And when something said about, well, how are you gifted? People will ask my kids and they'll say all of them. All of them.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think, and there's so many different beliefs out there and so many, the TT, if you're asking one person, you might get, it depends on who you talk to, and you have to be careful who you talk to, about stuff like this, so.
Right. I agree 100%. And one thing that makes us different is we don't base it on our own ideology. We don't lean on understanding, we base it on the ancient teachings and ancient scrolls that have been around for, you know, thousands of years, and we reference that. We don't ask you just to believe us because we say so. We make you research on your own. We give you the material to go. We give you the direction to go to research it. We back it with thousands of years of documentation, things of that nature. So it's not just, well, some guy wrote a book in the 90s and that's what we base it on, or the 80s. This is what we believe and study is based on our Melungeon and Scottish traveler heritage. Goes all the way back to, you know, the beginning, and it goes back to Melchizedek, and this could get really deep.
Yeah, I'm looking at her like, I don't think they have that much time.
Finger on my head.
It's interesting because I had no idea. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I had no idea that this is where you guys, this is your thing. Like, it's almost like, you know, it's almost like a secret society, but not so. Almost like, what was it? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank now. Tony, the guy we had on.
Matthias, what?
Matthias?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Freemasons.
Yeah, Freemasons and stuff like that. Like, it's like you come back, not saying they're like parallel. However, you have to have some sort of a background, right? So me, I'm, you know, German Italian, and I woke up and I'm like, hey, Mountain Gypsies, what's up? Let's do our thing. You know, and I feel like,
well,
you know,
ours was secret. My whole life, everything had to be secret. We were secret until I came along. I'm the first one to go public with what we do, and that's was a huge no-no. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be gifted helping the world. This is ridiculous. And so I went public with it, and I've taken I used to originally, because I've been doing this publicly for a long time now, but originally I took a lot of punches from my family, from friends, from a lot of people that knew what we did, but had known that, you know, I had promised not to do this, but that was a bad promise. And there's been so many people that have been healed. There's been so many people that's turned their life around. And I didn't do it just because I wanted to. I did it because I didn't want to do it. Trust me.
No.
But the calling of Yahweh on me was so strong that I literally took a year away from my whole family, my whole life, and ran away down towards Nashville. And I rented a place that had like an entire glass enclosure, and I would spend hours daily in there meditating and praying before Yahweh. What am I to do? What am I supposed to do? You know, arguing, you know, with the I am of the universe. And finally I had no choice but to do what I was called to do. And that was to go forward and take this publicly. And this is what we do now.
that's awesome. And here, this has got to make you feel good, because if you weren't around,
I've got to do my glasses to see this.
if you weren't around, you know, we wouldn't, you know, I know a lot of people.
I've been one of them for several times.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people
See
that,
up on that one.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I love you. Thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate it.
yeah. So hold on a second, because there was a couple of other. There was somebody else that had said something too that I wanted to.
My glasses on, I'll look like what?
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what I think you look like. You know.
So there's Ricky, and he's saying, you know, that he said he helps a lot of his friends with spirits. Ricky, I guess you can probably message the Mountain Gypsies. He was saying he was interested in joining. And he says he helps a lot of people. Kat, he said he sees some, he said he's an empath and a seer, and he sees a family behind Kat, and he sees a cat in between you and Anthony.
Well, that's interesting, because we didn't talk about when we first moved in our new place here. Darth, our cat, was playing with someone,
And it was an animal.
An
yeah,
animal.
we
It was an
saw.
animal.
As soon we always see an animal in here, so that's funny. He said
That's
that.
funny he says that. Yeah, we're trying to pinpoint exactly what it is.
It's always at the same time in the middle, waking me up and or us up.
Well,
and then there's. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Kill me or
What?
are they? He said he sees a family behind me. I'm curious. Are they happy or are they wishing death? No.
Hopefully good. Now this is a little. Here's another question, and I think this is important because I think a lot of people that are in our field, no matter what you do, I don't want to say suffer's a bad word, but have some sort of anxiety, sleep deprivation, something along the lines of so Nina says, I was told I'm awakening, which makes sense of a lot of things is happening, but is it common for you to have depression for it to worsen?
As you become awakened to the fact that you're gifted, is that what she means?
I think so.
Or if you're gifted to have depression.
Yeah, I think Nina, if you're still watching, just clarify that a little bit.
When you get an awakening, right before the awakening, you go into this deep depression, and then you're like you get a new life, or you get a new journey, new start, and that goes away, it peels away. But you get hit.
Yeah, it does. You do get hit.
Usually, when there's awakening, the reason there's a depression is there's usually a great loss.
Mm-hmm.
Which way do I make?
You're shedding all the crap away.
Yeah.
It's like a purging.
Past or karma, things like that. Just
Yeah.
all funny.
A lot of times people will go through a death of a loved one or a divorce or whatever, and it will cause an awakening. A lot of times people that are empathic are severely depressed and they don't know why. We teach a class about that, but it's because you are carrying other people's emotions, not even your own. And we teach you how to distinguish between your emotions and someone else's. That's a huge important thing to know as an empathic person, that what are your emotions and what are someone else's. It's so important to know.
Yeah. And she said yes, and she said, I get very dark days out of nowhere. Like she just feels, depressed.
Don't we all right now, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, today's hard, which I was going to ask you guys, like, how are you dealing with all that? I'm not even half as where, I'm like 3%. You guys are like 99.999%, over this way. I'm over here and I'm like struggling. I'm like, I don't even know how.
Well, one of the things is where we live in Roan Mountain is one of the most spiritual places on the planet. And the whole mountain is made out of quartz and rubies and diamonds and emeralds. Yeah. And it is the last undisturbed mountain ridge, which means most mountains continue to grow. This one won't, because it has the lava on the top where when Yahweh spoke the world into existence, it's still there. This place is very spiritual. That's why we have all these events there. So when all this negativity, all this stuff happens, that shows up there too. When I'm there right now with all this going on, my body shakes like this, like continuously. So really, without my other gypsies there, without because I need grounders there when it's bad, and without all the gypsies that are grounding me, that's why I'm down here. The sand is different, the ocean is different, and so I came down here to open this because the water itself, I can't be there right now alone. It's too much. There's too much emotion that is on top of that ridge. So one of the things about being empathic that you have to learn is, where can you be? Where can you actually be when this is happening? And you have to avoid places, situations, and people that bring that onto you as well. It's very detailed. That's why it's so important to know what your gifting is and what you're gifted in. So you know how to react, and what people you can be around, how to block those people. There's so much to it. We have gypsies that have been studying with us for years that are sages, and yet every day we spend the majority of our day, especially Tess, online teaching. We teach from morning till night, nonstop, don't we, Tess?
Pretty much. And I have to say to that comment, not only do you have to find your place, but you have to realize who you belong to. And we belong to Christ. So to know who we belong to and where we came from really helps us. And having Christ as a safety net and a protective bubble around us all the time really helps deflect things. And my whole family says we have a morbid sense of humor, so that helps with a lot of it as well. So,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. So those two things. But yeah, we do teach all the time as well, and mom or I are on the phone all the time, constantly talking to our gypsies, teaching, working, helping them. Because once your vibration starts to rise, you kind of you'll get in like little plateaus and you're like, oh my gosh, everything's so bright, I can't sleep, or everything tastes funny, or my stomach's really hurting, I can only eat vegetables, or I can only eat meat, and I'm a vegetarian. I mean, you'll go all crazy, but you kind of got to have somebody to be there with you to talk you through it and send you energy and love and reassurance.
Yeah, and I want to say something there about that. I know that when Tess says, we connect to the Christ, a lot of people are like, that scares, and it does scare people, and I understand that because the church is so freaking mean.
Yes, they are.
They are freaking mean, man. Let me tell you.
I'm no fan of organized religion.
We aren't either. We're not either.
I have been thrown out of some of the best churches in the country.
And Christian organizations, thank you.
Right. I have been an ordained minister for many, many years. And I was a youth pastor and a college pastor and a pastor. And when I would start speaking the truth, man, they freak out. The problem is that let me back up. There are some beautiful, wonderful people who teach the love of the Christ and of Yahweh, Yeshua, and Elohim. But the mainstream church has lost its way. Now, when I don't attend mainstream church, I won't do it. In fact, I feel that spirit of religion when I pass them. I get nauseous. They do not represent the Christ. And the Christ he said, I did not come to condemn the world. The world was already condemned. I come to set it free. Okay. He didn't never ask anybody who they believed in, what they believed in, who they followed, or anything. He met them at their need and then sent them on their way. And that's what we do. We meet people at their need. We show them love. He didn't condemn. If people are walking in sin or evil or whatever, they know it. They don't need you to tell them.
Right.
You walk in love, and then you send them on their way. That's what you do, man. He was about love. He was not about condemnation. He came to pull people out of condemnation, not condemn them. And so that's all we do is we try to mimic the Christ, which he said was what we're supposed to do. We try to walk in the gifts he gives us, and we definitely are not perfect, and we like to show that a whole lot.
Honestly, I'm not perfect.
People call me the cussing preacher, and I'm like, hey, he knows what's in my heart. It's better for me to say it out loud than to keep it inside, So and words like that don't matter. Words like that don't matter. What matters is that you display the truth before Yahweh and Yeshua and Elohim. And when you really are honest about who you are, what you feel, and what you think before, a lot of people, when they go to Christ, the Christ, which is Yeshua, we called, and when they go to him and they pray and they do, oh Father, thou blah blah blah, that is no personal relationship there. But we teach it. You go to him and you say, I am madder than hell at so and so, and they're such a piece of garbage, and she's a whore, and blah blah. You say that. Why wouldn't I? He knows that's in my heart,
right?
And he honors the fact that I'm truthful before him, and I know I'm not supposed to feel that way, but this is how I feel. And we tell people, when you are that honest before Yahweh, Yeshua, and Elohim, he will honor you. That's when you're going to see change in your life. That's when you're going to see doors open. That's when you're going to see your experiences, your journey change. When you start being honest before the I am and make a difference. You will not hear that in mainstream church. I promise you.
Oh yeah, no, you won't. I mean, especially, it's funny because, I wasn't raised in a church environment. but I was baptized. But then my mom kind of was like, she shunned away from the Catholic Church. My grandmother was Roman Catholic. Like she every weekend went to church, but my mom was the opposite. So, but after my dad passed, I was like, I need to find something. I went to every single type of church you could think of. I mean, I walked into churches. I was like, I need something because I felt so lost. I had no idea what was going on. I landed in the Catholic church in this one, and they had a band, and I thought this was cool. The father had an earring in his ear. I was like, I was 22, right? So I was like, okay, I can probably, jive with this a little bit, but being older and going through that process and being able to, see people judging and see people, and you're asking questions, and they're like, they don't, there's no answers. It's like, oh, you just have that thing, so being an adult and going through that, it's like, so I was just like, you know what? I can't get down with this. Like, I thought I could at first, but then afterwards I was like, so now I'm just like, I got St. Michael tattooed on my back. I got, that's my boy, like, I believe, I'm just a spiritual person. I believe in a higher power, so, and that's what gets me through my days. I do believe that there is something, what I mean? Just what the face is, I mean, back in the day, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I'm like, back in the day, the Greeks had gods for everything. And we look at them now and we're like, okay, like whatever, but.
Well, that's true. And we don't try to, we're just telling you who we are. We don't try to push our agenda on anyone. If people ask what we are and who we are, that's what we tell them. We don't go out and try to convert or tell people this is what you have to believe. We will tell you, if asked, this is who we are, this is what we believe. You have to find your own journey. You have to figure it out your own way. But as gypsies, as the Mountain Gypsies, as this line of gypsyism, of the Scottish Traveler and the Melungeon combination, this is our foundational belief system, and it is very different. And actually, I'm just hitting on the high points. It's very different than anything you'll find mainstream. Our source of power is Yahweh, Yahshua, and Elohim. Yet we also are different in the fact that we know that we have been left tools behind, which are stones and crystals and herbs and plants and ancient. Tess don't allow me to say spells. What word am I allowed to use? Remedies. And things of that nature. So we because actually, I kid with that, because originally the word spell was not a bad thing. It was just an ingredient formula, and so now when you use it, it means a bad thing. But no, we don't do spells on people. It's just remedies that you use. So we use all these things because it's in the ancient scrolls, and that's what we go by. So that we are a very eclectic mindset and different belief system that follows the original text, and so that's who we follow. We don't follow and this is not taking from you at all, so please don't think that I'm saying anything.
Oh, not at all. No.
But we believe that when people follow a universal God, that universal God is a universal being in our language is a high-ranking demon, because that's the highest ranking demon, is a universal being.
Okay.
Because God, Yahweh, who is the I am, is very insistent that he is recognized as who he is. And so on the dark side, because we study a lot of the dark too, they're very insistent on being recognized for who they are. And a universal being is the highest ranking of the demonic beings, and it's very important that they're recognized. So we have found that in this New Age movement, to say universal God or universal being, they have tricked a lot of people into saying that, and that makes them feel, people are like, well, I believe in something, I believe in a universal being, but that's the highest ranking spirit on the dark side in our belief system.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, I don't take offense to anything like this. You know what I mean? Like it's It's what you believe. It's what you. I mean, honestly, half the times I don't even know what I believe.
Well,
Every day I wake up, it could be something different. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get what you're saying. You're saying you believe there is God.
yeah,
But
there's something. Yeah.
You don't know what God is there, but there's God. But what we're saying is people are trying to say that. People are saying, I believe there's God, but I don't know what God is. But darkness has tricked them into saying, I believe in a universal being.
Right.
And a high-ranking universal being is the highest ranking of all demonic. And so they're getting that attention they want by tricking people into saying that because they're tricksters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they are, for sure. Right?
Because people are recognizing them all over the place going, I believe in a higher being. I believe in a universal being. Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And people don't even realize.
What is that being?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, just saying things so I just want to, if you can just let them know how to maybe contact you guys, because there's a lot of people asking questions about, well, I mean, there was a couple of people just saying like, that they're struggling, you know what I mean, with their stuff, you know what I mean? And they don't have anybody to talk to about it. People are, they can't talk to their family. They can't talk to their friends. And, the comments are, just so hard to keep up with. So if you guys can just let everybody know, like, where they can maybe get in touch with you guys for, that guidance.
Nobody's cussing us yet or calling us any name.
No, we have somebody from Australia here too.
UK. Yeah, there's a lot of people on. People are saying there was one person that just has a question, but I think you guys kind of answered it, but nobody's saying anything.
That's like usually people want to debate me or tell.
Are you sad? Are you sad?
No, most people are, amen and agreeing, You
got very curious.
And there's a lot of people on here that are saying that you guys have actually helped them. And like Rich Rosell was on here saying, Bill Freeman, they're all saying how much you guys have helped.
Which reminds me, we might before let me say this. We will be on September, is it the 19th?
Yes.
19th and 20th. Yep.
Will be in Norristown, Pennsylvania. It will be Tess and I, and it will be the Southern Gypsy, which is Carolyn LaCrone, and the Warman Gypsy, which is
Charlie LaCrone,
and Angel Rich Roselle will be there as well. We will be doing healings. Normally we have a whole lot more with us, but because of different situations and things like that, there will only be 6 of us there this year. So usually we have, 15, 20 of us, and we get a lot of healings done. But if you want an appointment with us, you need to contact us as soon as possible because we won't have openings, many openings usually. But you can contact us on Facebook at the Mountain Gypsies on Facebook. You can contact us at the Mountain Gypsies. It says Mountain Gypsies Kill Devil Hills or Mountain Gypsies, and leave a message. And either Tess and I will contact you, or one of the other gypsies will contact you. And we have several that are sages, and to make it to sage level, it's been intense study. And so one of us will contact you and help you along this journey. So that's how you can contact us. And we that's a good place to start. Or come to Selma in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and meet with us.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
It will be. Since I haven't been to an event in I don't know how long.
This will be our first event this year because of COVID. We didn't, because Dana's got canceled. Everything got canceled. We usually do 1 to 2 events a month all year long.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember the last event I've done. What did we do?
We did a private teaching in Geneva.
Well, we do a lot of private teaching. We just did a huge private teaching recently, but I'm talking about when we did
like a real.
No, didn't we do one?
The Pajama Factory.
The Covey, John Covey
I was
one.
gonna say Central Fair time.
Was that the last one? I thought you did one after that.
No, we did one after that. What was
Maybe, was it Selma? Was Selma?
Selma was after that, wasn't it?
Was it?
Or no,
Oh man, I think it was.
I thought the pajama thing was after Selma.
Yeah, I
'Cause
thought pajama was in October because they had
Oh,
Halloween
was?
stuff out.
It's that long?
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess so, because then
that's right.
winter happened and we
What-
don't really do anything.
what was Penhurst? Was
Penhurst is summer.
Yeah, Penhurst.
Yeah.
120,000 degrees out.
Yeah, that's like in the middle of July. You know.
Oh, that was brutal.
killed me. This healer almost died at that one. Good God.
It was pretty hot.
That was brutal. That was brutal. Next year, it's like everything's going to be rescheduled, hopefully. Well, it is rescheduled, and everything's going to be smashing together, and it's like you're not going to know where the heck you're going to go.
You know, we have, and that's another thing. Every year we have it around the 4th of July. We have what's called the gathering, and
Yeah.
it's not an event; it's a gathering, and it's
Yeah.
it's kind of more laid back. We if we say at 4 o'clock there's going to be a speaker, it might be 4:30. We just kind of go with the flow. We have all kinds of catering and food and fun and partying and it's just like it's a bunch of gypsies that get together, yet we sell tickets to the public to come to hear speakers, to experience healings, there's all kinds of vendors there, and it is we go creek walking, we go up on the mountain. I mean, this place is amazing. People come in my house and pass out, and
That's usually what
sometimes they
happens.
don't leave for months. But we have a wonderful time, and we've had to reschedule it. We had to cancel it this time. So this is the third cancellation, and we're going to do it. I guess move it till next year, or maybe November. We're waiting to see what's going to happen, and but we're actually we're bringing a bunch of. We were supposed to do September the 4th, 5th, and 6th is what the last scheduling was, but instead we're bringing all of our gypsies together for a time of meditation and learning.
Teaching. We're gonna be doing some teaching.
I'm
excited.
We're gonna learn them real good.
Yeah.
So did did you start all this and come out before Tess?
Yeah, because I wouldn't allow her to, because she was under the same. She had to fall under me and do what I told her to do, and like I had to fall under my parents, and so
it's a hard road, but
see, I owned a salon for 30-some years, and so people would come to my salon, but it was like hush hush. They would come and like make an appointment for just a shampoo, and what they would do is come for a reading or a healing. And but you didn't talk about it, you know, like in the old days how people would go in for a reading and they would just go to somebody's house and slide the money and kind of deal.
Right.
You know, you just didn't talk about it. So Tess was, you know, she did the same thing, and then what happened was Carmen Reed from The Haunting in Connecticut showed up at my beauty salon about 20-some years ago, and she walked in, and I had this hippie shop in the middle of a cow field, no lie. And she walked in and she looked at me. She said, "I was sent here, and I'm here to tell you you're gifted." And I said, "No, I'm not," which I've been doing this since I was a little kid, but I didn't know her, and I thought somebody set me up. And I said, "No, I'm not." So she came to me for years, kept telling me I was gifted, and I would deny it because I didn't know her. And finally, one day, you know, I found out who she was and everything. And she came in, got her hair done. She said, "You're gifted, and you're supposed to go public with this." Well, I admitted to her, yes, I am gifted, but I'm not going public with this. You're crazy. My family's against it. And she just kind of wore me down after all the years. And she would make me, so like she would call me, she would be like somewhere, and she's like, "I'm looking for a little lost kid. What are you picking up on?" And I would give her a description. I would do whatever, and they would find the kid, whatever, you know. So I did it behind the scenes for a while. And then she convinced me, when I finally ran away from home and did this sabbatical thing, she was like, "Look, let's do this radio show. Nobody's ever going to listen to it. Nobody's ever going to know about it. It'll just help you come to terms with who you are, all that stuff. It's very obscure. Nobody will ever listen." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do that." Well, little did I know that wasn't the fact. And I did this radio show with her, and man, it just took off. And that everybody heard us, everybody knew about it, and it went crazy. So then from there, we were picked up by Rob. You remember Rob from
Live Paranormal.
Live Paranormal. Yeah. We had the Carmen Reed and Kat Young show, and then that's when Tess started going out with us.
Well, I was doing all the blogs and all the fun stuff. I got to do and like pre-interviews with a guest. That was a lot of fun because I didn't know who I was talking to.
Carmen and I opened a healing center together, and then she decided that she was going to retire, or she was fully retired then. I think she's semi-retired now. And when she did that, that's when I came out completely, where everybody saw that it was just me and Tess, and we started, doing it publicly. And we did our own radio shows, and we used to be on Live Paranormal. We had 2 radio shows a week, and, we were on the road every week going somewhere that's when it was, man, there was conventions everywhere. Remember when there was just every week convention somewhere?
Yeah.
And it got so big that we finally were like, we got to scale back some. And that's when we scaled back some. I didn't know it was going to scale back this much.
True.
So there's just, you guys have people all over then.
Yeah, we have people that we've trained all over the United States. And
That's
most
awesome.
of our cell groups are in Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Alabama,
Arizona,
Florida, Arizona, Kentucky. That's where most of our cell groups are.
So now, do they have to have permission to help and heal? Like, do they have to meet a certain criteria to be able to, help people and this and that?
If they claim to be a Mountain Gypsy, they do.
Okay.
We've had people we've had people that were fake, that tried to take on our identities or try to pretend like they were like us or take on similar names as us and try to, when I first started doing this, there were no healings or healers in the paranormal. And I'm not saying that to put roses on my shoulder. It's just that paranormal and healing it made no sense. It didn't make sense. There was just, you had paranormal, you had groups, but there wasn't healers or anything like that. And I've been doing this a long time in the paranormal world. And now, there's tons of healers and things like that. And we've seen along the way that there's been people that even try to copy our names, so close to our names, and try to look like us and dress like us, but they don't last long. They don't have the heritage. They don't have the understanding. They don't have, the couth to do
I'm
what
gonna keep my mouth shut on that.
And so, they do it for and you've seen this in paranormal world. People try to do things because they want to be famous, or they think
right.
When your heart and your intent isn't true to help people that are gifted find their journey, or to help broken people heal, or to find people that are sick that need help to be better, then you're not going to last. You have to have the right intent of heart. When I see a child that has been molested, or an adult that was molested as a child that is broken to pieces, and I feel that pain for them, there's everything in me that I can do to help them. I will try to get to them. And if you don't have that, then you're not a true healer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree 1000% with that. Like, when you get into it, and because I've seen it firsthand. A lot of ex-friends, I can say, because they gets to their head and they think, they care more about the money. They care more about the name getting out there than what their goal was, to help people.
Where these people are making a lot of money from.
Yeah.
What money are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, then it's like, you don't really, the people I'm talking about, it's more, they want to be on, like the paranormal shows, or they want to be on the, they want to be like, or, the Sylvia Browns, or the, you know what I mean? Like, the people that just really, which I mean, I'll keep my opinions to myself about that kind of stuff, but
well, we had in California, we had them approach us, and they come out and they did the sizzle reel for us, and oh God.
It was bad.
So anyway, they contacted us back and they were like, "Can you tone it down a little bit because people aren't ready to see what you do?" And we're like, "No, we can't." They're like, "Well, America is not ready to see full-blown exorcisms, or America's not ready to see this type of healing. And can you tone it down, or can you go back and recreate that scene?" I'm like, "You can't recreate a healing." So that didn't work well. It didn't work well with them at all.
Although that would be a different type of a show. I mean,
but they said that America was not prepared for the reality of that. I was like, wait a minute. So your reality show doesn't want reality. And we were just like, you know what? I don't need this because I'm not going to recreate something that's real. I'm not. I want you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're not going to do that because we answer to Yahweh, Yahshua, Elohim. I can't fake that and know that I have to stand at the end of my days before the creator of the universe. I'm like, well, it was a reality show, God.
Right.
I think we scared the camera guy.
But we say it all the time. Like if you really did a show about what we do, when you take the paranormal investigating, no matter if it's helping a family or you're helping a historical site raise money, or you're just going in to have fun, for 4 hours we're in the dark. Nobody wants to watch that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's people are like, what's it? Falling asleep, So, I mean, I know that the shows nowadays, they're on location for so long, and they just combine it all into 1 hour, but nobody would really watch what we really do because it's.
Or if you're doing an exorcism and somebody starts throwing up this weird crap, and they're going all to pee. Nobody wants to see that. They think they do, but the real stuff, nobody wants to see that because when they throw up, they're usually passing gas and gagging, and it's not pretty like TV.
No.
It's like that ain't pretty at all.
No, it isn't.
I just keep thinking about when we took the camera guy up to that the one grave and the horse head and all that.
Oh,
he was scared, and I think that had a lot to do with it. We've had several production companies come to us, but all of them it's pretty much the same thing. And honestly, we want to reach as many people as possible and be as genuine as possible to people. And I think sometimes a TV might pollute that. I think people would not be able to see the truth of who we are.
And we've also worried too that when you are working with evil and you use a television, is it a possibility that as we're removing the spirit, can it transcend into the homes of people? There's something to worry about with that. We took this one guy that wanted to film us up to. There's a grave where we're from, and it's a gypsy that had been murdered up there. They killed her for being a gypsy, and they had slit her throat. They buried her upside down so she would go to hell faster, and her head at the foot of it's just anything disrespectful they could do.
Wow.
There's a lot of cult groups that go up there and do cult things, and
I'm not really smiling because of that. I'm not smiling because of that. Just keep going, Mom.
And so we get up there, and there had been some ritual groups up there, and they had severed the head of a horse and drained the blood out of it. I don't know if y'all know this, but that's not an easy thing to do. And so this horse head was laying up there with all the blood drained out of it, and the photographer guy got so scared he ran out of there. We never saw him again.
Oh my God.
We didn't do it, but
no, we didn't. It wasn't us. We just happened. I was like, hey, hey, Catholic, and we all started looking. And the next thing we know, he goes, "Oh, is that real?" And we went, "Yeah." He went, "Should I get closer?" I went, "If you want to."
He was gone though.
I probably would have joined the camera guy. I'd have been like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some crazy stuff that goes on. Yeah, I'm like, how the heck did they do that? But we're around where there's a lot of crazy. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this world that the mainstream world would not believe. You know, they just don't understand the spirit. People like us that are gifted, the warriors of the world that work alongside with the angels, like we work with the Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and whatever other angels that Yahweh decides to send, and their warring angels. Um, the things that we as warriors in this world that are called to work with, that regular people just walk around blinded to, they just wouldn't believe what we fight, you know, to come to protect other people from. Like with all the stuff going on now, we spend so much time battling against the darkness and the evil that is in this earth. You know,
and you're also protecting yourselves, which is a full-time job in itself as well. You have to always have that protection.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming at you at all angles. You know what I mean? So that in itself is an exhausting job when you're trying to help somebody else, but also trying to protect yourself in the meantime. You know, it's just,
especially when you get these little stinking jackass Pinterest witches that try to come. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not on Pinterest, so I don't know. I mean,
I'm not on Pinterest either.
we talk about there these little teenage.
It's like
girls.
Google witches, you know.
Oh yeah. They're out there.
They just Google like, what does it spell for blah blah blah.
They're
And
dangerous. They know
big
enough to be dangerous, and they cause so much harm and danger in people's lives because they're just they read a spell, they don't know what they're doing, and they cause harm and danger on people. Man, those irritate me more than anybody, and I just want to smack a snot out of those ones.
it's
a lot of fluff, a lot of imagery.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, in the beginning when we first started talking, sorry, I have ADD. When he starts barking, I'm like, woo. You had said hoodoo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
hoodoo,
which is not voodoo at all.
It's what?
It's root work. It's not this. It's not root. Hoodoo is root work. It's not the same as
voodoo.
Voodoo.
Right. So did you guys ever see Skeleton Key?
Yeah,
a few times.
That's not voodoo.
Nah.
So in that movie, they were saying that was hoodoo, whatever they were doing there.
That was voodoo.
I know it's a movie, but you know, it is probably one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. You know, it's like in my top. It's like it almost tells you like the power of suggestion, right? Like you have to believe in it in order for it to work.
Well, that's true. That's kind of true, and it's kind of not true because you don't got if you don't have that inside of you, you don't got to believe in Jack. You can if somebody doesn't have the protection of Elohim around them. Well, I shouldn't say that on here.
I'm just keeping my mouth shut. No, that's not hoodoo at all.
That is not true. You don't have to necessarily believe in something for it to be true, for it to protect, for it to happen. Right. But yeah, some hoodoo in that movie, but a lot of that's voodoo. Hoodoo is root work, and it is the basis of hoodoo is this, and it cracks me up. My grandma will never believe this. You could put a spell on somebody, and it's okay because Jesus won't care if you do it, because if it doesn't stick, then it wasn't meant to be. If it sticks, then he meant for them to have that on them.
Yep.
That is not true. That they believe that. The old hoodoo workers believe that, but that ain't how it's supposed to be.
Wow. That's funny. Never heard that one before.
Yeah, they read their Bible. They follow the 23rd and the 24th Psalms big time. Hoodoo is okay. That comes from the Melungeons, which is it's African. See, voodoo's Haitian. Okay, hoodoo is African. It's African, Scottish, and Cherokee, all beliefs combined together, and it created hoodoo, which is your root work, your root work, your stones, and your Christianity. So it's Protestant, African, and African American beliefs that come together to create hoodoo.
Native American beliefs and Eastern European stuff thrown in there as well.
Yeah, But didn't I say that? It's kind of sort of. I don't know.
That's okay. I got you. That's what I'm here for.
She backed you up.
In my
Gotcha.
mind, I know what I was trying to say. That's the hoodoo that came out of Harlan, Kentucky, which is where my grandma was from. And so way back in our lineage, one of my great grandmothers was one of the ones that started hoodoo. And that's scary.
Oh,
and she had her throat cut and her hands tied behind her back and left in a shallow stream and died there for being a hoodoo priestess. But they didn't call it priestess back then. We say that now. They didn't even call it hoodoo. They didn't know what they were doing. Later people called it hoodoo, you know. They were just doing stuff.
They're just doing work is really all it was.
You pissed them off, they took care of it, you know.
So Tess, you have a fan, Dave Clark, says that you have a beautiful smile.
Thanks.
I love Tess. Isn't she the most beautiful thing?
She is beautiful. I was gonna say I got a girl crush. It's okay.
Can y'all hear the thumps? There's 6 kids, and it sounds like they're tearing the house down.
No,
Like a thump.
I don't hear a thing.
Okay, good, because I keep hitting like mute because I'm like, oh God, I don't know what they're doing down there. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. And then our watcher from Australia says he loves the accents, which I love the Australian accent. So that's
we have an accent.
yeah.
Yes.
And then
Where we're from, we don't have that strong of an accent.
They
Wow.
actually ask us where we're from here at
You're
home.
probably right.
oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah, people where we're from, they talk like this. You can't understand a damn thing they're saying.
Yeah.
that's about it.
Sounds good.
That's how they talk. Yeah.
That's
And
what
then, unfortunately, I wish we were on the brew, but we would go longer. But so last question, Stacy Angela asks, are you ladies mediums?
Now this is gonna piss everybody off.
I'm gonna let you answer it. It's not gonna. Hey, you are who you are. You know.
Well, that's not our intent to piss everybody off, but
No.
But this is our foundational beliefs. We do not believe that mediumship is. We don't believe in mediums. I mean, we believe they exist, but we don't believe you should do it. Okay. If you have, my contact just went wanky. If you have the gift to speak to someone from the dead, they don't need to inhabit this. As I have said before, nobody rides this bus but me.
yay! I haven't heard it in a while. Sorry.
So if a spirit has to inhabit you to speak through you, you got a problem. Because people say, well, I can make it leave. Hell no, you can't. These spirits are looking for a host. You may think it leaves. It does not leave. I have done exorcisms on mediums where over 100 spirits came out speaking languages that person did not know.
Right.
People are like, I can't believe she's saying that. Well, believe it, because mediumship is dangerous. It's very dangerous. If you have the gift to speak to somebody from the other side, first of all, I question why you're doing it. Second of all, you're not supposed to tell people's future. You can talk to them about their past and their present and how to help them on the journey forward. Mm-hmm. And also, why do you need a spirit to inhabit you to speak through you if it can talk to you? That's right. Bad news. Mediumship is one of the dark arts. We don't practice it.
Right.
Now, how many people have I pissed off now?
Still no negative. Which is awesome. So, how can you? You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate you coming on.
We don't say that to be mean, but we take people that have done mediumship and we show them how to use that gift properly. And we don't mean it to be mean. We're just trying to help you not destroy your soul and your spirit and yourself and your body. And when you take these classes and you walk with us, you kind of go, oh God, you know, and it's not us. We follow the ancient scrolls. This isn't our own ideology.
Right. And then, okay, so there was somebody else up there, and forgive me because your comments all the way back up there, but basically they were asking, do you think that a lot of the spiritual stuff and the paranormal stuff is aliens? Do you believe in aliens? Do you think it's like UFO aliens type thing?
Our take on aliens is a little different than most people's. But basically anything that wants to try to steal your attention other than what you're supposed to be doing and what your path is supposed to be on, we see as a dark avenue, if that makes sense, something of the darkness. So not that I'm saying they don't exist. I'm saying there's a lot of things out there that exist that most people wouldn't even know how to describe.
Right.
There's different forms of aliens, and they all have different jobs. A lot of them are Nephilims, we think. And also, one of the things that we teach about that is, what do you think about 75% of the day? That's your God. What is on your mind 75% of the day? Is it worry, bills, your husband, your girlfriend? That's your God. So if you're continually focused on aliens, you've made that the God of your life. So we try to retrain your thinking to have this relationship with the I am, so that you can have the proper relationship with yourself and everyone. So that's when you're going to have your gifts peaked. That's when you're going to have the correct journey. And that's when you're going to understand self-love. And if you don't get that number one thing, self-love, you can't get any of this other stuff right.
Wait, well, that just means that Brad Pitt is my God.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I didn't mean to make a joke of it. I totally respect it.
I've got brownies on my mind the last couple of days.
Really quick before we go, let everybody know how they can reach us. You guys will be at Selma September 19th and the 20th, which is great. But really quick, just how they can get in touch with you guys and how they can check you out. And then we'll say bye and hopefully have you guys on again.
Oh, we'd love to.
Yeah.
You can check us out on Facebook. We have Mountain Gypsies, which is mainly about the Roan Mountain Center, which Tess runs that. She also does yoga there, and you can get healings there and counseling there because we're counselors as well. You can also go to Mountain Gypsies, Kill Devil Heals. That's the location I'm opening now. It will be up and running next week. I'm losing my voice. You can also go to Kathy Young. That's my Facebook page because they won't let me put cat. They said I'm not an animal, but I am. And you can go to Tesserae. Tess, what's yours under? Tesserae Lee Hughes.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, if you can spell that, you can go to Tesserae Lee Hughes.
Good luck.
And you can leave us a message. If you need help, we can either help you or we'll put you with the right gypsy that handles those situations. And come see us. You can actually get a healing or a class at one of our locations, and come to Selma and have a healing, or whatever. We'll try to meet you somewhere to help you. That's what our job is.
Awesome. And you ladies are beautiful, and thank you so much for your time. I know you guys are really, really busy, and it was short notice. I just, I threw it out there, and you were like, yeah, so awesome. So you were meant to come on. There's going to be something good that comes out of this. So,
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I love you guys, and we will see you soon.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
we'll see you soon.
don't forget, we're going to be at Phenomenology in January, all of us.
Oh yeah,
January. February. That's what I thought. I was like,
That's
January.
a huge event.
Mhm.
Yep.
But
Phenomenal.
we'll see you before that in September.
Yeah, September, we're going to be at Selma, but then after that, Phenomenology.
No.
I can't wait for that.
I know.
That'll be awesome. All right, ladies.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Love you.
Bye. Thank you. Love you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, that's it. We're like 10 minutes past due. I'm going to get in trouble. All right. We'll see you guys later. See you next week.
All right. I'll talk to you later. All right. Oh, I thought you meant us.